2月14日、現地時間2月13日、ドジャースのデーブ・ロバーツ監督がスポーツ専門の米メディア ESPN にゲスト出演。ロバーツ監督は番組内でドジャースの強さの秘訣でもあるレガシーやドジャースを10年間率いた経験について、また現在の大谷翔平選手の状態や佐々木朗希投手の契約プロセスなどについて言及しました。大谷選手に関してロバーツ監督は、東京シリーズから10月までフル稼働するのは難しい。彼は毎試合打席に立ってもらう必要があるからマイナーでリハビリ登板することはないと独特な調整方法をしていくと言及。また佐々木投手の話題では、佐々木投手を獲得していったプロセスについて語った後に、最後にもう一つだけ朗希のことで言いたいことがあるんだと、佐々木投手がチーム内で仲良くなりそうな選手についても楽しそうに明かしてくれました。そこで今回はドジャースのデーブ・ロバーツ監督がスポーツ専門の米メディア ESPN にゲスト出演した実際の映像を翻訳してお届けしたいと思います。それでは行ってみましょ
う。Dave Roberts is the manager of the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Dave, how you doing?
Buster, I'm doing fantastic. I've got that itch, and so I'm ready to get back to the grind, the rhythm of my job. So it's been an exciting off season, and I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, you grew up a Lakers fan, as you and I have talked about in the past. You love Kareem, you love Magic, Michael Cooper, James Worthy. In 1987, the Lakers beat the rival Celtics, as you remember, in the finals. And then at the victory parade in 1987, Pat Riley said this at the victory parade. Give a listen.
I feel grateful to be alive and living in Los Angeles. And I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year, we're going to win it again.
Yeah, Dave, and I don't know if you remember this, but he did that because no team in the NBA had won a back-to-back titles in like 20 years. And so Pat Riley did that, and some of the Laker players acknowledged like years later, because they did go back-to-back. As you know, they beat the Pistons the following year. Some of the Laker players like, really, dude? Really? You're putting that on us early? Tell me from your perspective. Go ahead.
That was great sound. I certainly remember them going back to back. That was my team growing up. I was in high school at that point in time, and I was all about the Lake Show. And it's funny, as I did talk to Magic about that, where he was like going like, really, coach, that's what you're going to do to us? But he made him a prognosticator, a future teller, and he proved them right. I mean, they all did. So I don't know if I'm going to go that far, Buster, but I do like our chances in 25.
Okay, so tell me about that. I didn't know you would talk to Magic about this. When did that conversation come up?
It was one of those things that Magic is around enough for me, not enough as I would like him to be around, but he just wants to sort of stay kind of in the background and support the organization. But I think it was like at a dinner or, you know, at a ceremony or a celebration, something like that. We were just talking about doing it again. And he said, he volunteered the story that Pat said it, you know, at the parade. And the guys were looking at each other going, really, coach, that's what we got to do? You're going to put this on us and that burden? But they owned it. They took advantage of it. Yeah.
And so you said you don't know if you'll go that far. You don't think you'll go that far?
Yeah, you know what? Because I remember years ago where I did say that, and it was the caveat of we still got to stay healthy. And I felt great. We weren't healthy in the postseason, didn't win a championship. So I just think that what manager, what head coach doesn't feel that they're going to win the World Series? And I think that's our goal. I believe that in my soul. But I don't think I need to tell that, put it out there in the universe, but I will talk to our guys about that. And again, that's what we believe, and that's going to be part of my messaging.
Do you think that this will become part of, what drives your players this year? I remember, when I covered those Yankee teams in 98, 99, and 2000, that 98 team, which was so great, was driven by the fact that they had lost in the playoffs the year before. And then as years went by, it was like, let's keep this going. Let's keep this going. Or do you think this is something that just organically will grow over the course of the season? And at the beginning, it's a clean slate, and let's start building.
I think it's the word that first comes to mind is legacy. And Mookie said this. Shohei said it. Our guys have talked about it. And when you look at sports or anything, that comes with a testament of time and a certain time stamp. And when you're talking about whether it's the Bulls, it's the Lakers, as we just talked about in the 80s, or you're talking about the Yankees in the 90s, the Patriots. And I think that with the infrastructure, the talent that we have with the Dodgers right now, this is a great opportunity for us to supplant ourselves, for the rest of time as far as a legacy, the greatest organization of this time period. And so I think that you have to win back to back. You got to win consecutively. You got to be the last team standing. So that's front of mind for our guys. The interesting thing, though, with that, Buster, is Blake Snell, Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Roki. These guys haven't won with us before. So you're still infusing new blood, new hunger into an organization that's already won for those guys to be a part of this legacy that we're trying to build here.
And I've heard from managers in the past, I remember Davey Johnson talking about this, Joe Torre talking about this, that's really important year to year to add fresh blood, add new players into the mix. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with that. I think that there is a certain science to this as far as keeping the core together, the right guys. And last year, I thought we did a very good job. Obviously, we bring in Shohei, who signs with us, who hadn't won a championship yet, let alone been to the playoffs. We bring in Teoscar Hernandez. And why did Teoscar leave money on the table? Because he wanted to come to the Dodgers and win a championship. So you then you bring in the guys that I had just mentioned with the guys that have already won and understand that pedigree and what it takes to be that last team standing and win 11 games in October. Then you've got something really special. So I don't think that there's a letdown in place for our ball club, but I do think that it's ensured when you bring in guys that are really hungry.
Speaking of legacy, this is going to be your 10th year as manager of the Dodgers. Tell me what Dave Roberts, manager in 2025, would tell Dave Roberts of 2016 that you didn't know when you took over.
Wow. I think that I wish I wish I would have known from the outset not to take things personal. I think early on, whether it's a player not performing, preparing the way that you feel that they should, early on, I took it as a personal affront, as opposed to they've got some things going and you've got to kind of manage those guys individually to get the most out of them. And it's not a reflection of me, the coaching staff. I also think the media, the fans, I used to be on social media. I would have told 2016 Dave Roberts, just don't even get on social media at all, because people have a tendency to go down rabbit holes. And so I don't do that now. And my quality of life is elevated tenfold. So I think that's probably it. And also the last thing is really kind of all the information you get. It's just a combining of, data, your eyes, the players, and just kind of trusting all that, feeling that you're prepared to make the right decision in whatever particular moment.
This might be a tough question for you to answer, but I'm curious. And having talked to so many managers through the years, they need to pay attention to how they're perceived in the room, right? It really struck me after you guys won the World Series last year, how many players were talking about you and the work that you did. How do you think players perceive you now versus when you started doing this?
I think that, Mookie obviously being very vocal publicly about my value, my impact to the club, Freddie, Teo, Miggy Rowe, all these guys, Max Muncy. And so for me as a manager, it means everything, because you do your job because you love the game. but most importantly, you love players. And so, when things get hot, you do it for the players. And those guys really understand all the conversations that we have during the season, personal, professional. I think that they saw, Buster, it was like, I've said it, last year was my favorite team of all. And I think that it's because we were in lockstep. There was 100% trust going both ways. And any decision I made throughout the season or the postseason wasn't questioned. Whether hitting.
How different is that from the beginning when you started?
Oh, that's right. That's right. But it's like you can look at me hitting Tommy Edman 4th in the postseason, or hitting him 9th, or leaving Blake Trinan out for 50-plus pitches, having Alex Vesia close a game out versus the Mets. There's a lot of things that had to happen, but there was complete trust, and it's everything. And that's why, for me, I just can't wait to get back to work and continue to build on what we've got. And we mentioned the new guys that are coming in, and I just can't wait to kind of really build relationships with these guys and integrate them with this culture we already have.
You cited your value, your players' perception of your value. Mookie talking about that. You're nearing the end of your contract. How are you going to handle that?
I think that we have just started talking. And so I think for me is I'm hopeful, but I'm going to focus on winning games. I'm going to focus on, getting better as a manager. Getting our guys prepared for opening day for this great season to win another championship, and hopefully everything takes care of itself. But it's about value, and I just love this organization. But yeah, you want to feel your value, absolutely.
Some specifics before you go. Ohtani, where is he physically in all the elements of his game? And there are just so many. And where do you think he's going to be when the season starts?
Shohei is interesting, and I say that obviously because there's a lot of variables. The hitting, he's right on track. I think that if you look at things of like on the pitching side, understanding that we want him to be fresh, strong, healthy, certainly through October, and appreciating the fact that he hasn't pitched in a calendar year, knowing that he can't go wire to wire from the Tokyo series through October. And so what does that look like? He's not going to do rehab in the minors because we need him to be out there each night to take at bats, right? So he's not going to go on a rehab assignment. So then that speaks to some type of simulated games while he's ramping up. And so when do we start the process of him getting into a major league game? I don't think it all is contingent on how he looks in spring training, how his pens, the lives, and all that stuff goes. So I don't think anyone right now, Buster, knows a hard date to start. But I do know that he's trending in the right way, and he's going to push us as much as he can to make it sooner than later. That's for certain.
What's different between now and last year when you committed to Mookie Betts at shortstop?
Yeah, the difference, Buster, is last year we sort of thrusted on him in the sense that we made the move with Gavin to go from short to second base, and had the conversation with Mookie, and he was all in for the challenge, front office, organization, all in. And the getting to the baseball, the care, the preparation, he dominated. Then it was just kind of the different arm angles, the throw, executing, finishing plays. And I think for us is, number one, you can't bet against Mookie, and I would never do that. And number two is that this offseason, he has gone into this winter as a shortstop, that mindset, that mentality. Chris Woodward, who is now back to being our infield coach, and we're going to kick Dino out to the outfield, has raved about Mookie's shortstop play, the throw, the completing of the play. So we feel really good about Mookie at shortstop, and I don't see any reason why he won't be an all-star this year at that position and really play above average shortstop in 25 for us.
Last one for you. Roki Sasaki was the most talked about pitcher of the wintertime. Teams met with him. I spoke to a number of officials with other teams who said their perception of him was that he was very serious. He was very businesslike. And he, in their eyes, he seemed very driven. What was your perception of him?
I think that's exactly right. Some of it I feel is related to who he is intrinsically. He's very sort of buttoned up, very stoic, doesn't give you much. And the other part, I think he's just young. And so
Right.
there was a lot of things going on. He obviously had to travel a lot, take in a lot of information. And, for us, he was very respectful. It's scary in the sense of when you go through a process, when you're trying to court a player who there's a language barrier, that he doesn't give you anything of aspirations or desires or wants or needs. It was more of just taking everything in. And at the end of the day, we were like, we've done everything we can do to show how much we would make him better. The city of Los Angeles, the organization, the players really stepped up. Meeting him, engaging with him, having dinner with him, breaking bread, which was amazing. And then at the end of the day, we felt we did everything we could. And so for him to choose us was certainly a huge coup. But it was a very dicey process, Buster. But we're really excited. I think our organization, the fans, and I'm excited to get to see him work on the day-to-day because truth be told, he hasn't pitched a whole lot. And we got to make sure we keep him healthy. But as far as talent, it's some kind of special.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, how he mixes in and what he learns from other guys on your staff. And you're going to be the team that we're all going to be watching this year.
Yeah,
Dave, thanks for doing this.
I'll say one last thing. So
Okay.
I was talking to somebody in Japan, and we were talking about Roki, and he goes, what's going to be the funny thing is that obviously the language barrier, but this guy goes, hey, I'm telling you right now, Roki is going to gravitate not towards Shohei and Yoshinobu. Him and Teoscar Hernandez are going to be the best of buddies because in Japan, he really befriended a lot of the Latin players. So it's going to be interesting to watch Teo and Roki become good buddies.
Yeah. Well, and you guys, people have talked about the money that the Dodgers spend, but I tell people all the time, the culture you have built and the fun that your guys have being around each other every day, that's also pretty special.
Thank you very much. It is. And I think that players talk, as we all know. And, for us, as far as the wives, the culture, travel, all that stuff, we win and we bring in the right guys. And, there's nothing more telling or of value or the biggest compliment when guys leave money or years on the table to be a part of something special. So I think from the owners all the way down, that's something that we're really proud of. And we just got to keep winning and try to, make our fans proud.
Thanks, Dave. I'll see you in Arizona.
I can't wait, Buzz. The weather's good out there.
いかがでしたでしょうか。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーなどを中心に野球情報をお届けしています。この動画が良かったら高評価、チャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。今回も最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。